I had this device sent in from a viewer that asked if I could take a look at it and see if anything can be done to it. And I didn't know what to expect when he first contacted me. But okay, well, let's look at this thing. It's a converter that will convert cassette tapes to a digital stream for recording on the computer. And I mean, they're only worth about $15, so you're not going to expect much, right? I received this in the mail to be repaired. This is a well, let's open it up and see what this is. It says it's a tape player. Let's see what this is. This is a device that's used to capture audio from cassettes and turn it into USB to record onto your computer. And the complaint on it is it's the wrong speed. So he wants me to check the speed on this and see if it can be adjusted, and see whether this thing can be made to run at the right speed. And we'll take a look at it and see. I've never seen one of these units before, but we'll check it out. So basically it's like a little Walkman. It has a headphone jack and a USB jack, so it's going to have the A to D converter built in. And it's auto reverse, metal. At least it's not all plastic. Takes a couple AA batteries. I guess the first thing I'll do is I'll put some batteries in it, and we'll put a 440 test tape in it and just take a look at what the speed is on the frequency counter. Unit takes 2 AA batteries. These are brand new batteries. And I have my standard test tape here. We'll load the test tape and we'll start playing. Try the other direction. And yes, it is slow. That's my scope probe. Looks to be a couple screws on either side. Into plastic, of course. I notice there's a few more screws in the top. I don't know if they have to come out or not. They might have to. We'll take these 3 out as well. Well, there's the unit there. I guess these screws didn't need to come out, so I'll put these ones back in. Oh, now I've done it. The belt's come off. So the belt goes back on these units, just around one pulley, around the other one, and then around the motor, and then around this idler. And there's really not a heck of a lot to these things. There's a speed adjustment right there on this motor. Not that this thing was off by much, it was pretty damn close. But you may be able to adjust it slightly. Interesting. This is just a cover that is stuck on there. There's a hole in the back of this thing. I wonder if that hole in the back of this thing... No, it doesn't. I was going to say maybe it lines up with... Oh yeah, there is. There's a hole right there. That's for the motor speed adjustment. Cool. You can adjust the motor speed on this thing without even taking it apart. Now, it would have been nice to have known before I took it all apart. But there is a motor speed adjustment right there. There's plenty of torque on this belt. We'll put the thing back together and we'll try adjusting the speed with that speed adjustment. I should have a screwdriver that's fine enough to go through that hole. Well, here we go. We can adjust the speed of this thing. We'll beat it with the other one. Excellent. Let's put it together. And now any of you guys that buy one of these things know that that's an adjustment. All you need is a small little screwdriver like this. And you can adjust the speed on your own. Let's put this little piece of crap back together and set the speed. And then we'll look at what some of his other complaints are. I think he said he hears motor noise in the recordings. So we'll do it. We'll try capturing something from this thing on the computer and see if I hear the motor noise using batteries as my source. Although you could use probably an adapter too, but I would myself I'd probably be using batteries just because they're more isolated. Even though it's going to eat batteries if you're transferring a lot of tapes, but a couple rechargeable batteries was probably the way I would do it if it was me copying tapes using something like this. can stick this. I don't need to even have this off. It's kind of interesting that there's a big hole cut in the back here, like it's to access something, but it's not needed to access the speed control. I think that hole lines up with it pretty good. But we'll find out pretty quick here. One thing I have noticed with this thing is that if you're not careful, when you put the cassette in, the tape drops on the back side of the pinch roller. So you got to make sure that the tape actually goes over the front of it. And since this is such a flimsy mechanism, if you, like that, now I've missed the pinch roller, you can probably see the tape. It's really easy to get the tape on the wrong side of the pinch roller, or the capstan shaft, see? Because there's no spring to push this in place. If you load it like that, there's a good chance, like I've done, it's on the back side. So you got to make sure that the tape actually goes on between the pinch roller and the capstan. Otherwise, it's not going to play. It's going to stop. So there we go. Let's beat it, and we'll zero beat. About as close as I think this thing's ever going to get. Okay, let's I'm gonna get my laptop. We'll bring the laptop out here, and we'll see how this thing sounds digitizing onto my laptop. Okay, as soon as I plugged in my computer to this, it automatically detected the driver, so there's no drivers to load. I do have Audacity on here. Where is it here? There it is. Let's load it up. Audacity, however you want to pronounce it. And we'll look at our input, and it's probably this one here, microphone USB plug and play. That's more than likely what it is. Let's see whether it shows up. I've got the sound going to the stereo as well, so we should be able to hear it if I click on here to monitor it. Let's see whether it shows up. That looks like that's it there. It's going to come through the computer. So what I'm going to do, this is some royalty-free stuff, and I don't know whether the level on this has anything to do with it either. I don't think the level on this probably doesn't have anything to do with this, but we'll hear it through here because I've got my monitoring turned on. I'm going to record this track onto the computer. And what I'm going to do is we'll dump the sound from this recording, so pay no attention to what you hear while I'm doing the recording here. I'll actually take the file from here and we'll put it into the video, and we'll see how it sounds. Remember, this is a super USB cassette capture, so you know that this is going to be good, right? Wink, wink. Yeah, right. I think a Walkman, a good old Walkman plugged into your sound card is going to do better than this. I can guarantee that it's going to do better than this. But if you don't have an old Walkman or an old tape deck, this might do the job. But let's see what happens. So I'll click on, see, this thing's noise level's like minus 45 dB even without anything being done. Oh, that might be the reason why. I have a sneaking suspicion that this thing just digitizes the output, and this actually could be an input. And I bet you, if I plug a microphone into there, I'm going to see my voice come up. Let's find a mic. Oh my God, I find this old microphone that probably came packed with a cassette recorder 50 years ago. What happens if I plug this thing in here and talk? It's going to record me. If I click record on this thing, which I'll do. So now this thing is recording me talking into this microphone, and it's not very loud, but that shows you can't have anything plugged into the headphone plug on this thing while you're going to capture, otherwise it's going to pick up sound and they're going to act as a microphone. If I play that back, I may have to turn it up a bit. Amplify. Yeah, let's just amplify this. Amplify the crap out of this and play it back. So now this thing is recording, talking into this microphone. And it's not very loud, but that shows you can't have anything plugged into the headphone plug on this thing while you're going to capture, otherwise it's going to pick up sound and they're going to act as a microphone. Okay, now you know. Wonderful. Let's see how this thing actually sounds if we won't save that. Where is it here? One thing I've noticed on this unit is that the volume control is active when you're making a recording, so do set your levels. This will affect your level on the recording. And as you can see, there is some noise just from the amplifiers in this thing. Even if there's no tape in it. The amplifiers themselves are noisy. You can hear it hissing. You can hear motor noise too. Not very clean. Not very clean at all. Let's we'll make the recording. We'll do a comparison between the two of them. So I'm going to set it up, rewind the tape, play it, and we'll just do our recording here. Hit record, and we'll see how it compares. One thing I should point out is this thing sells. This is the unit here. You can see it here. That's the unit. Here it is. Super cassette, capture, auto reverse, stereo, hi-fi, mega bass. This thing sells for $15.54 to buy one of these things. If you want to buy 40 of them, they're $13.89. So we're not expecting a lot out of this thing for $15. In fact, the person that sent it to me to look at spent $17.25 in postage to send it to me. Not much I can do on this thing. I got the speed calibrated on it now. It's playing the right speed, and we'll take a look at, or we'll take a listen to the recordings from this and the recording from my other Pioneer deck, and we'll listen to the two of them. But there's not going to, I don't think there's going to be any comparison between what this delivers and what the Pioneer deck that I use to make the second recording directly into the line input on the computer and just use the capture card of the computer to do it. I don't think there's going to be any comparison, but we'll do a comparison and see. The fellow that sent me this, in his comments, he says, you know, the speed is slow. He says, I put a 440 test tone cassette in it, and it reads 431. It was a little bit off. It's playing the right speed now when it's adjusted. It says motor noise when recording cassette to PC. Yeah, I think I don't know that we're going to be able to do anything about that. That's just the way it is. Anyway, we'll take a listen to this thing and see whether how it sounds, how the recordings sound on it, comparing to my other deck. Okay, I didn't say I was going to be fair. I'm going to use a Pioneer Elite Series CT07D, one of the better cassette decks of recent vintage, and I can say that with honesty. These are a very good deck. If you can find one of these decks, this is one I think is well worth collecting. It might not be a Nakamichi Dragon. It's a two-head deck. It's auto reverse on both decks, which is kind of cool. But what makes these ones stand out from pretty much everything else that I've seen in recent vintage is it uses digital sound processing on playback. And it literally will almost completely eliminate tape hiss. I'm going to make sure that I'm not, I'm going to play this back the same way. So I don't know whether this tape was even recorded in Dolby or not, but that other thing didn't have Dolby on it, so I'm not going to put Dolby on this. I'm going to play this tape back, and I'm going to record it just using the line input from the output of this, and we'll let the cards fall where they will. And this one's going to kick that other one's butt, for sure. It's not really going to be a fair comparison. I'm almost evil for using a deck like this, and there are better tape decks than this, but if I'd gone and picked up one of those little mediocre Sanyos that I've had kicking around before, which I don't even know where I've done with them now, but if I went and grabbed one of those things, it would probably be a closer comparison. This is kind of overkill, almost over the top, because these decks do sound very good. But let's play this. I let the song play out, and no, I did not mute it at the end. That is how quiet. When the song ended and you heard no tape hiss, that's what comes off this CT07D. It is phenomenal. No noise whatsoever. Unbelievable. Okay, this was recorded. We'll save this one as well. As you can see, there's just nothing until the music starts, and that's the digital processing on this. So let's just save this file. Export audio. We'll call this one Pioneer CT070 or CT07D capture. Let's save it. And we'll see what the comparison is on these two. Now, just for fun, let's try the same tape. This is my Walkman WM-F16. I just put the same batteries in it. This is my classic Walkman, a very rare Walkman, as it has both FM and AM stereo. So this is one that I'm keeping, and it works. It has not been used in years, and I don't think in the entire time that I've had this thing, it's had more than maybe a dozen tapes put through it. Let's try the same recording. I've already set up for it using the analog inputs, and we'll see how this one sounds. So I'll start the recording up here, and we'll hit record. So that was the recording from the Walkman, and you can hear a little bit of hiss in the background there on that one. Now we're going to take a listen to the Super USB Walkman player again. You're going to notice there's no comparison. Even the Walkman was better, but nothing like the Pioneer. Let's take a listen. Pretty sad, isn't it? That's what you get for $15 or whatever it was. It's just absolute crap. An old Walkman does a better job, but just for the hell of it, let's just take a listen to how good that Pioneer was again, and I'll play it right from the beginning, and I won't talk over anything. You'll hear how quiet that thing is, and the music just comes out of nowhere. It's just a phenomenal player, and I had that thing given to me. It's one I'm going to hang on to because it is such a good player, even without any noise reduction. Let's take a last listen to the Pioneer. As you can hear, that Pioneer has a fantastic sound. As far as cassette decks go, and there are some very good cassette decks, and a 3-head deck is going to give a little better performance. This recording was made on an old standard tape. There's nothing fancy about this. It was made on a Fuji standard bias 120 microsecond equalization. And there wasn't any noise reduction or anything used on it. It was just a straight recording from an MP3 file. And it really just knocks out the hiss. It's really quite remarkable the way that works. They were onto something there, and that was right at the end of the cassette decks when cassettes were on their way out. And Pioneer just knocked it out of the park. If they'd made that as a 3-head deck, it would probably be one of the better decks that you could have bought. But even as a 2-head deck, it has fantastic sound. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay clear of these little pieces of crap, because if you want to record your cassettes, just go find yourself an old Walkman or any cassette deck is going to do a better job with one of those. The sound card in your computer, even a laptop, is superior to what that AD converter is inside that little player. Thanks for watching.